I'm looking for a submissive woman. I don't care. What do you bring to the table? I don't care. It has to be 50-50. I'm not about to subsidize a grown woman's lifestyle. I don't care. She needs to be a certain weight. She needs to dress a certain way. I am a visual person. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Okay, now that's out of the way, let me tell you why. A man on the internet made a video about dating women over 50 years old. Actually, he made two videos. The first one said women expect men their age, to be their sugar daddy. The second one, he explained why he refuses to date women his own age because apparently our expectations are too high. We demand too much. We have, and I'm summarizing here, priced ourselves out of the market. I started watching and listen. Most of it was very cringy. Women as gold diggers, women existing to please. So I stopped halfway through and I said my three words: I don't care. But here's the thing, buried in all that noise, the men said one thing that was actually true. We did price ourselves out. He's right about that part. We absolutely did, on purpose. So today I want to talk about what we actually bought when we stopped selling. And stay to the end because I'm going to tell you about the thing that I'm buying myself right now. It has a dollar amount attached to it, and I want you to buy one too. If you're new here and you already felt that in your chest, go ahead and subscribe because this whole channel is that feeling. Here's the part that he got wrong. We didn't price ourselves out of the market. We priced ourselves out of his market. His market is the one where a woman's value is her face, her body, her age, how agreeable she can be at a dinner she didn't even want to attend, how small she can make herself so that a man never feels threatened by her. And the market only works if women keep showing up to audition for it. Somewhere around 50 years old, we stop showing up. That's not a crisis for us, okay? That's a crisis for him. He built a whole store and the customers walked out. Now, let me tell you why this one is personal for me. I grew up as an immigrant daughter, and where I come from, girls were raised on a performance. Everything, and I mean everything, revolved around one goal: be chosen, get married. A ring on your finger meant that you had arrived. That was the finish line. That was what success looked like for a woman. Not your education, not your work, not the business that you built, or the life that you put together with your own two hands. You could do all of that, and the aunties, they would still look at your hand first. Somebody puts a ring on it, now you've accomplished something. Now the family can exhale. So you learn early on in life to perform, how you sit, how you laugh, how much of your opinion is allowed out of your mouth in mixed company. You are being groomed for an audience of one man that you haven't even met yet. That's the audition. It starts when you are a little girl and nobody ever tells you when it's supposed to end. And it went deeper than that. Some of that was even traumatic. If a man looked at you a certain way, somehow that was your fault. You must have done something. You must be wearing something. A grown man's eyes, they were your responsibility to manage. And you carried that as a girl. I watched accomplished women, women with everything going on for them, shrink themselves to get chosen. I watched women get the man and then hand him everything, transfer the wealth, put him in charge, give up the dream. I knew women whose dreams would have taken them abroad, and they stayed because going meant losing the man. And I've said it on this channel before. Yes, I am the black sheep of my family. That way of raising girls was passed down generation to generation. And I decided, no, this stops with me. So when a man online announces that women like me have priced ourselves out, understand what he is really saying. He is saying that the audition stopped. And on that, he's correct. So let me show you what's on the other side of the audition. There are 4 things that I want you to hear today. And the third one has a date on it that might shock you. First thing, let's talk about what women my age actually want, because it is not what he thinks. By 50 years old, you know what you want. You don't have time to waste, and you are not putting up with the BS. You've already survived things that would have folded a lesser woman. You have your own money. And here's the part that nobody warns them about. You genuinely enjoy your own company. You've discovered that you like doing things solo. Dinner solo, travel solo, a whole Saturday answering to absolutely nobody. That changes the math completely because now a man can't offer you rescue. You're not drowning. He can't offer you status. You built your own. He can't offer you a finish line. You already crossed it by yourself, carrying your own bags. So what's left for him to offer? The only thing that ever actually mattered, himself. So a man at this age is not a rescue plan. He's a companion. And I mean that in the deep sense of the word. A friend, someone you talk to, someone you have things in common with, someone who appreciates your individuality, who is not threatened by your ambition, who is not threatened that you already had a whole life before he showed up. Sugar daddy? Baby, half of us are our own sugar mommy. We funded this life ourselves. And can I say something about this whole what do you bring to the table business? Because this is a concept that I really do not get. This new fashion of interviewing each other. What do you bring to the table? Sir, I built the table. I bought the chairs. I've been setting this table by myself for years. A relationship is not a transaction. And every time I listen in on the rules of dating these days, I say the same thing to myself. I am so glad that I am not out there because so much of it sounds like a business negotiation. He's listing requirements like a job posting. She's calculating benefits like an HR package. Two people sitting across from each other with invisible spreadsheets, and then they wonder why nobody trusts anybody. Companionship doesn't come out of a spreadsheet. It comes from two whole people who already have their own tables deciding they'd rather eat together sometimes. That's it. That's the whole thing. Everything else that these peoples are arguing about online is just the audition trying to survive. Second thing, I want to keep this part in because it has been sitting on my chest. And let's talk about this submissive woman business. Every time I hear a man say, I'm looking for a submissive woman, I notice the same thing. He's quoting Ephesians chapter 5. Wives, submit yourselves to your own husband as you do to the Lord. That's verse 22. And then he reads through verse 24. And then for some reason, his Bible just stops. Because in his Bible, verse 25 does not exist. Let me tell you what verse 25 says. Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. Gave himself up. Did you catch that? Keep reading. Husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. When you give yourself up for somebody, there is no gap left. There is no I left. Christ died for the church. That is the standard on the husband side of the page. His assignment is heavier than hers. So the men who are all stuck on submissive, listen, your responsibility in that chapter is much greater than the one that you keep quoting at us. She submits, you die to yourself. Read the whole page and tell me who got the harder assignment. And it's interesting to me that nobody ever makes a video about verse 25. They memorize 22 to 24 and then the ink runs out. If you're going to build your whole dating philosophy on a chapter, baby, finish the chapter. Third thing, a little history, because people talk like women depending on men is some ancient sacred tradition. It is not. It was the law, and the law was 5 minutes ago. In this country, until 1974, a woman could be denied credit unless a man co-signed for it. 1974, a bank could look at a grown working woman and say, come back with a husband. That is not ancient history, okay? There are women watching this right now who lived it. My mom lived it. One generation ago, a woman having her own thing was barely legal. For most of history before that, a woman basically was the thing. She was property. She moved from her father's house to her husband's house, and the paperwork moved with her. So when these men talk about tradition, understand what tradition they're missing. They're not missing candlelight and courtship. They're missing leverage. They're missing a world where a woman has to say yes to somebody, a world where a woman had to say yes to anybody because the bank wouldn't even talk to her alone. She was property. And when I was growing up, being a single woman, even a single mom, it was almost shameful. If you weren't chosen, something must be wrong with you. Listen to the language, not she didn't choose, she wasn't chosen. Like we were produced sitting on a shelf waiting for someone to pick us up and check us for bruises. And now look around. We live in a time where women in their 50s are happy living alone. And I don't mean pretending happy. I mean genuinely, deep down, sleep well at night, happy, accomplished, building their own wealth, traveling wherever they want, basking in it, not waiting to be picked, not performing, not auditioning for anybody. And here's what these men cannot process. Having somebody in her life is no longer a required thing for a woman to feel whole. It's an option, a nice one, with the right person, but an option. And when something goes from required to optional, the seller loses all his power. That's just economics. That is the existential crisis these men are having. It is not that we cost too much. It is that the discount ended. If a woman in your life needs to hear that sentence, send her this video and subscribe on the way out. Fourth thing, and this one is for the young women in their 20s, their 30s. Come sit by me for a second. Have your own stuff. Buy your own houses, do your own thing, and hear me clearly on this next part because I watched this mistake happen over and over. Do not buy property with a boyfriend. Do not co-sign anything with a boyfriend. That man is not your husband. You have no business signing 30 years of debt with somebody who can leave you with a text message. And do not shrink yourself to be chosen. If your dream takes you abroad, go. If a man is threatened by your ambition, by your individuality, by the fact that you are a whole person all by yourself, then listen to me. That is not your person. The man who is actually your person will not require you to be smaller in order to stay in your life. Because I have watched this movie too many times. A woman with everything going on. She meets a man and within a year, she's transferred the wealth, put him in charge of the accounts, put him on the deed, handed over the very independence that made her interesting in the first place. And she did it because somewhere deep down, the little girl in the audition told her, this is what it costs to keep him. Don't do it. That's all I'm going to say. Don't do it. Don't do it. And to my married women, you should still have your own account, your own thing. And that has nothing to do with trust, okay? Nothing. You are an individual, period. You had dreams before him and you are allowed to keep funding them. The man who is right for you will never take that personally. And the man who takes it personally just told you something that you needed to know. So let's put the whole thing together. 4 things. Number 1, at 50 years old, a man is a companion, not a rescue plan. We want a friend, not a sponsor. We became our own sponsors a long time ago. Number 2, if a man quotes verse 22 at you, hand him the Bible and ask him to keep reading. His half of the chapter is heavier than yours. Number 3, women having their own money in this country is barely 50 years old. We are not destroying tradition. We are brand new and we are not going back. Number 4, young women, own your own stuff, sign your own name, keep your own account, and do not shrink, not for anybody. Now, let me pay off the title because I said this cost him everything. What it cost him was the audience. The long line of women raised like I was to perform for a ring, to treat being chosen as the finish line in their whole life. That line is gone. We got up, we left the waiting room. And here's what nobody tells you about the day that you stop auditioning. You do not lose your value that day. You find out that your value was never the thing that was for sale. I'm 51 years old and I spent half of my life being trained for a role that I never asked for. I plan to spend the second half at the top of my own list. He can call that pricing myself out if he wants to. I call it the first thing I ever owned outright. Which brings me to the thing that I told you I'm buying. At the top of this video, I said it has a dollar amount attached. Here's the number, $10,000. And the thing I'm buying with it is the exact thing this whole video had been about. My own freedom, in my own account, with my own name on it. I believe every woman should have her own money. Married, single, dating, it does not matter. Your own account, your own thing, not because of distrust, because you are an individual, period. Because here's the truth underneath the whole video. Every piece of freedom I talked about today, the freedom to say, I don't care, the freedom to walk out of the audition, the freedom to wait for a companion instead of settling for a sponsor, all of it stands on one thing, her own money. A woman with her own money gets to mean it when she says no. A woman without it is negotiating. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is out loud on this channel. I've restarted my 52 weeks, $10,000 challenge, $10,000, 1 year saved in front of everybody on an ordinary income, piece by piece, week by week. Some weeks it is a big piece, some week it is whatever the week allowed. But every single week, a woman is paying into her own freedom on purpose. If you want in, the full video explaining exactly how the challenge works is right here in the channel, and I'll put it in the screen for you. Come save your own $10,000 with me. Be your own sugar mommy. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Webley. I'm 51 years old, starting over out loud, and there is no shame at this table. Subscribe if you're starting over too. And tell me in the comments what you stopped auditioning for. If that's too much typing today, just give me 2 words on purpose. I read every single comment, and I will see you here tomorrow.